Hey there, I'm Tony DeCopel. Welcome to the Uplift. We've got a, wouldn't you know, uplifting show for you today. Among our cast of characters, a puppy rescued and then rescued again. Could there be a third rescue in his future? Also, a man who wanted to make his late mother proud, so he became a superhero and traveled the country. Also, the Harvard freshmen who are helping Ukrainian refugees find safe places to stay. And have you seen these billboards where you live? We'll show you the meaning behind the sunflowers in the sky. Also, the reason this school custodian got emotional, very emotional, when she walked into work one day. And the sweet message this boy had for his mom. Plus, our other heartwarming videos of the week. Hello, hello, I'm Tony DeCopel. Welcome to the Uplift. We do indeed have a great show for you, and we are going to begin with our most viral, heartwarming videos of the week, beginning with a video of a custodian named Lana. Lana, here's the story. Well, she's from Ukraine. She's here in the U.S., and she walked into an elementary school where she works, and she was overcome by what she saw. Take a look.
Good morning, Miss Lana.
This is really.
Good morning, honey.
Thank you, thank you.
I don't know if you noticed, but we even have your family's names and stuff on some of this stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, surprise. Now turn to your right.
Wow, so nice. Thank you, thank you.
And did we get everybody's names?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Sometimes the biggest emotions come with the smallest gestures there. Lana touching her chest, clearly overcome. The students at her school surprised her by decorating the halls with a tribute to her home country of Ukraine. It clearly meant a lot to her. Our next video comes from us from Zeeland, Michigan, not New Zealand, Zeeland, Michigan, where a 17-year-old, the basketball player, Jules Hogland, who happens to be blind, got a chance to shoot a basket at a high school game. This is what happened. Pretty sure it went in. You could tell from the crowd. That tapping, by the way, is how Jules was able to line up the shot. And that shot was made in front of 2,500 people. Jules herself worked very hard, in fact, for years, to make that simple, exhilarating moment happen. Congratulations. All right, now take a look at this. If that handwriting that you're looking at right now might seem familiar, it's because you've seen it not on a sidewalk, not on pavement, but on your computer. It is 5-year-old Sebastian. That's a talent he has to recreate with chalk fonts that you see online. His parents call him a little Einstein for not only this talent, for a lot of them. In fact, his dad told the Uplift they noticed that around 18 months, Sebastian was a little different from other kids. He would write the entire alphabet, and he could even read some small words at that point. Then at around 2.5, he would write not only the American alphabet, but the Russian alphabet and the Greek alphabet. He has autism and also something called hyperlexia, which gives him advanced learning for his age. And fonts are not his only talent, far from it. Sebastian also knows the periodic table and every country on the globe's capital and their flag. Wow. All right, another video for you. Take a look at this. 95-year-old great-grandfather. He's got Alzheimer's, but when his granddaughter Jamie brought her baby to meet him, he came awake and really came alive. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? Small gestures, big emotions in a tiny package. Jamie said that her grandmother used to touch her grandfather's face in exactly that way. And so when her 6-month-old did the same thing, it made the moment extremely special, kind of unlocked the great-grandfather there for a moment. A beautiful scene. All right, another story for you. A mom named Rochelle Curry said she was looking at old photos of her children, getting worked up, getting a little emotional. And her 2-year-old son saw and thought he needed to step in. Take a look.
Don't cry. Don't cry, please. Don't cry, okay? I want you to cry. You are happy. Okay, open your mouth. There's no it's eyes. Okay? Okay, the baby.
Okay.
Baby. Okay. Open your mouth and breathe. Go this side. You better.
I love you.
Don't cry.
This is not a perfect equation, but kids do tend to give back to mom and dad a lot of what they give to them. That's a sweet, sweet image there. Little boy helping his mom. All right, coming up. At its surface, it's fine dining, but even this 11-course meal had a very big purpose. And the meaning behind these sunflower billboards popping up in at least several states in these United States. Plus, a man donates a kidney to a complete stranger, and what he did after may surprise you. Many small businesses all around this country are showing their support for Ukraine by holding fundraisers, but one group went a little further, using not a 9, not a 10, but an 11-course meal to bring people together and raise thousands of dollars for a charity helping Ukraine. CBS San Francisco's Sarah Donchi has more.
At its surface, it's fine dining with family and friends.
Next up, Spanish mackerel crudo.
But this $750 a plate dinner is helping feed refugees thousands of miles away.
What Chef Jose Andres and what they're doing to support the refugees is really, I think it's a really good cause.
Healdsburg chef Andrew Horry helped organize SF Chefs for Ukraine, an 11-course meal raising money for World Central Kitchen, a group helping to feed refugees fleeing war-torn Ukraine.
I feel like it's such a good organization and has been doing so much to help the people of Ukraine. So I wanted to come out and support.
It's a full-circle moment for Horry, who interned for World Central Kitchen when renowned celebrity chef Jose Andres was just getting it off the ground.
I wanted to do more of the on-the-ground work, which involved a lot of cooking. So I ended up working in one of his restaurants, and then 8 years later, I came out to cook here.
Guests enjoyed food and bottles of donated wine with a higher purpose in mind.
You feel so unable to help because it's so far away, and having a connection, being able to do something that you know and you believe in, we know Jose Andres, we know his work, really helps us to connect.
It's a cause near and dear to chefs from Ukraine, too, like Anna Voloshina, who was horrified to see atrocities against Ukrainian civilians.
I thought we are, as a humanity, we are doomed. For a second, I thought, this is it for us. But then I see so many people who are helping, who are volunteering their time, who are giving away their money, and who are helping and supporting, and it gives me so much hope.
Food it's a basic human right, and I think having access to food, especially in crises like these, it's an issue that needs to be addressed.
In every crisis, just look for the helpers. There's some of them right there. All right, it's not surprising that a church in Minneapolis was extremely crowded on Palm Sunday, but it may surprise you that many of the people in this picture were not part of the actual congregation. In fact, they went to be part instead of a Ukrainian tradition, an Easter egg festival where these beautifully decorated eggs were sold, and a little bit of hope was spread.
There's a lot of hope here that what we're doing here can make a difference.
There is hope, and I think it's gonna take very long time to recover and rebuild, but there is a hope, and I think help of the entire, community. This is where we build up. This is where we stand.
St. Michael's and St. George's Church not only shared the Ukrainian tradition with the public, but they sold handmade eggs and homemade meals to raise money for Ukraine. Now, there are a lot of ways to support Ukraine, from fundraisers to marches. One man from Minnesota, volunteered to help in person. He went there. CBS Minnesota's Jennifer Mayerly has his story.
It's been a busy 2 weeks since Brady Atherton landed in Poland. The Minnesotan committed to volunteering with a private, organized group of veterans who all felt called to help people fleeing the war in Ukraine.
Our group has been facilitating certain extractions and humanitarian aid in southern Poland and along the border of Ukraine as well.
The Army National Guard veteran recalls a trip to the Ukraine border.
Air raid sirens, buildings being shooken by 155s, just absolute chaos.
He works logistics and says some of their original mission has changed. They've been called to provide security for women and children as they come into the country to ensure they make it to refugee camps.
To show protection over these women and children coming into the train station.
They'll provide security at the camps too and have played with children there.
Good to see smiles on their faces after what they probably just went through leaving the country.
Most nights, he says, Polish people and refugees march together. He says to demand an end to the war.
It's a pretty powerful deal to watch people who don't even speak the same language, but they know they're sharing the same cause.
Brady knows he's where he's supposed to be right now, but his fiance and baby in Minnesota are never far from his mind.
I'll be ready to be home when I'm home.
Taking Minnesota nice to a new level. All right, coming up, this man had something to prove, so he proved it by climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. Okay. Plus, the man who decided to become a superhero, yep, a superhero, there he is, to help kids and honor someone very important to him. Plus, a rescued puppy's second chance at life, and the college freshman who didn't team up to study, but to help Ukrainian refugees find places to stay. April is National Donate Life Month, so we're spotlighting a living donor named Steve Wilson who donated his kidney to a complete stranger. Afterward, he wanted his story to inspire other potential donors, so he set off on a second mission to prove that his so-called living donation was actually, at the end of the day, an easy decision. Natasha Larno has his story.
In June 2019, Steve Wilson was going on a bike ride. Like many of us often do, he checked his phone beforehand and saw a moving post about his friend's daughter.
She was a junior in high school at the time. She had just received a life-saving kidney from a woman in town. And they didn't even know this woman in town until they made the plea for their daughter. So I became emotional. I just thought that is the coolest thing. I couldn't imagine, that's the epitome. And so I took a long ride thinking that feeling would go away. And I kept thinking, I would love to do something like that woman did.
Wilson selflessly decided to become a living donor himself, donating a kidney while he was alive to someone he didn't know.
I knew it would go to someone. It ultimately went to somebody across the country. So they took my kidney at New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell Medical Center, and they hustled it over to the airport, flew it out to the West Coast. So I knew it was going to somebody. I didn't know that person, and I still haven't met that person, and I probably never will, and it's perfectly okay.
Going through an elective surgery may seem daunting, but Wilson says all it takes is 2 weeks of your life for the operation and recovery. And to prove that it isn't burdensome, Wilson and fellow living donors embarked on a mission summiting Mount Kilimanjaro.
I do think that having that purpose made it a little bit easier, but there were some people, and I was one of them, that really plowed hard to get through, and the purpose behind it was the reason you just kept going.
The team reached the summit on March 10th, symbolically World Kidney Day, and as for whether the climb to encourage living donations was worth it,
a lot more than one person will consider donating a kidney because, so many people aren't aware that you can actually donate a kidney, that you only need one to live. Many people are born with one, and most people probably don't even know that.
Not only did the headline-making Kilimanjaro summit raise awareness for living donors, but Wilson's own donation turned into a chain reaction of giving.
My kidney went to somebody, and then that somebody had a willing donor but was not a match. And then that person donated to somebody else, and it started a chain whereby 3 people received kidneys. All for, again, a 2-week inconvenience to me.
He says you can change the life of your recipient and potentially many more lives along the way.
Steve Wilson making it look easy. Well done, Steve. All right, moving on now to a story about a dog who was rescued from a fire, then rescued a second time. CBS Sacramento's Rachel Wolf has more.
Ready to play after a pretty rough day.
He had a lot more plastic, burned plastic on the top of his fur area on his back, top of his head. He's still got a little bit down below, a little burn on the back hind leg.
Sacramento fire crews rescued this little guy during a homeless debris fire Tuesday. The captain on the scene knew man's best friend needed a good friend, so he called Mike Thawley at Station 19.
Said, "Do you want him?" I said, "Yes."
Thawley is fostering the pup while Front Street Animal Shelter finds him a forever home, and he's already making himself pretty comfortable.
Perked up pretty good after we gave some water, some food, gave him a bath, started picking off some of the plastic. And then yesterday, kind of personality started coming out, following us around, tail wagging.
This isn't the first time Thawley has fostered a dog Cruz rescued. 5 years ago, he took in Chunk, an abandoned pit bull chained to a fence off Richards Boulevard.
Chunk had no hair, had mange.
Thawley is an advocate for pit bulls. He knew right away she was home, and that's where she's been ever since. He documented her journey on social media.
We had well over 30 million people following Chunk. Donations into Front Street, donations to the bully rescues. Chunk had a 2-page article in Women's World magazine. Our crew got an award from PETA.
He says it's a doggone shame someone would leave a puppy in such bad conditions, but hopes the rescue tells a tale of how people can help other rescue and shelter animals.
One very cute puppy, one not so cute adult dog, both of them very deserving of a doggy life. Looks like they got one. Well done there. All right, moving on. When Yuri Williams lost his mom, he fell into a dark place, as you might understand. But he knew his mom would want him to continue to spread light in his life, so he did, in her honor. Caitlin O'Kane talked to the man who decided to become a real-life superhero, all because of Mom.
When Yuri Williams of Long Beach, California, lost his mom to an 8-year battle with cancer, he fell into a dark place. His mom was his best friend.
She was just an amazing person, a great cook, a great friend, and just an asset to the community. She was always helping people in need. It just carried on to me, and I'm just continuing her legacy by keeping her name alive, doing what she taught me.
Yuri felt stuck, but he wanted to do his mom proud.
I said, I can't live like this, so I gotta think of something to get me out of this, this dark tunnel. So that's when I decided to create this nonprofit and dress up like superheroes and just try to save the world.
He created a future superhero and started holding events like blood drives, movie nights for sick kids, and food drives for the homeless. Yuri's signature way to give is by dressing up like a superhero and visiting kids or anyone who needs a little joy for free. He recently embarked on a mission to visit all 50 states as Spider-Man or the Mandalorian, or as he says, Santalorian, around Christmas time. But the real hero is inside the costume, and his sidekick, his mom, always in his heart.
After completing that tour, that's when I really found, this is what I should be doing in life and helping people. And that's what my mother installed in me ever since I was a little kid. So this is the way that I keep her name alive, by helping others.
She may no longer be with him, but her legacy lives on in Yuri and his nonprofit.
On her deathbed, I promised her that I would keep her name alive by, continuing to do what she did. And I think she is pretty happy with what I'm doing. It seems like she's still here because every time before I do a kind act, there's a bee that lands on the front of my truck. And it's just all like every time that before I'm about to do something, like we do an event, a bee lands on my car. And I just think that's her reminding me to be kind and be good. That's what she used to tell me, be good all the time. So I just feel her, she's still here, but she's not in the physical form, but she's still here.
The real real superhero is inside the costume. A lot of truth to that line. Nice piece from our Caitlin O'Kane. All right, when we come back from South Carolina to Illinois, these sunflowers have shown up in several states, maybe more. We'll tell you the powerful reason why you're seeing these billboards. And we introduce you to the Ukrainian family that is forever connected to two Harvard students who helped them as they fled their home country. Stick around, more good news ahead. With millions of Ukrainians fleeing their homes, many with nothing but the clothes that they're wearing the day they left, well, we want to introduce you to two people compelled to help with that situation and to help by using their keyboards. Meg Oliver has more.
When the war started, Aliyah Mezhanina and her family spent 8 terrifying days in a bomb shelter praying they would survive.
It was really scary.
On the other side of the world, 19-year-old Avi Schiffman was at a protest in San Diego that inspired him to do more.
I saw that there were millions of refugees flooding out of Ukraine and ending up in neighboring countries, but the systems in place there for those refugees to get in contact with hosts would not scale to millions and millions of refugees and was just not efficient.
So the Harvard freshman teamed up with classmate Marco Burstein, creating a website to help refugees find housing.
We did not sleep for like 3 days.
They've added safeguards to protect vulnerable refugees.
How many people have you helped so far?
Thousands and thousands.
A week after it went live, Aliyah and her family had reached the border and found the site.
It was, yes.
A host offered them their home in France for the summer.
And now I, my mom, my sister, and our daughter live in this place.
What are you getting out of this?
I'm not making any money off this website or anything like that. I'm passionate about what you can do with technology, and I think that it makes the world better.
Helping families like Aliyah's find shelter and peace.
Beautiful story. And speaking of beautiful, 400 giant sunflowers have appeared in several states. On billboards, that is. And if you've seen them, you may be wondering why they're there. Well, here's an answer. The sunflower is not only a sign of peace, but something else. Adriana Diaz has more.
It's a simple sunflower set against a blue sky. No words, nothing else. More than 400 of them have sprung up in 7 states, from South Carolina to Illinois. Tony Chaffee of Adams Outdoor Advertising came up with the idea.
We get phone calls, what is it about?
This is what it's about. Chaffee was inspired by this moment in the first days of a new war. A defiant Ukrainian woman confronting a Russian soldier. She gives him sunflower seeds, saying when he dies, sunflowers will grow in his place. It's Ukraine's national flower, a sign of peace, long displayed on stages and now in the streets. A field of them served as a battleground in Ukraine's 2014 struggle with Russia. And now they grow here, on billboards across America.
Why did you decide not to put any kind of wording on it?
The beauty of a picture is that it's made for the interpretation of what you see. Most people that love sunflowers know a lot of attachment is to Ukraine. And if it makes other people find out about that, it's a beautiful journey. This isn't far from an advertising message. It's just a thought bomb.
A silent symbol of resistance and solidarity.
Very pretty billboards and a great backstory as well. That's our show. I hope it brightened your day, lifted you up. I'm sure it did. And if it didn't, you can rewatch it. It's all free. Thank you. More good news next week.